Let's get right into it. Number 10, liquid gold. Picture this. It's 70 AD in ancient Rome. Nature calls, and for the first time in history, the emperor is listening, and he has his hand out. Emperor Vespasian has just inherited an empire that is completely broke following a brutal civil war. He needs massive funding to build his dream project, the Colosseum. But instead of taxing the rich or cutting military spending, he looks straight into the sewers. See, back then, urine was actually a hot commodity used by laundromats and tanners for its ammonia. But deciding to tax it? That is like the modern government sending you an invoice for the lint in your belly button. It is petty, it is weird, and it feels like a prank. Even his own son, Titus, thinks this is a step too far and tells his dad that monetizing human waste is disgusting. In response, Vespasian grabs a handful of gold coins fresh from the tax collectors, shoves them right under his son's nose, and drops the legendary line, "Pecunia non ole." Money does not stink. He was right. The coins didn't smell, but the precedent sure did. This moment gave birth to the concept of paid toilets that still haunts tourists in Europe today. So the next time you have to frantically fumble for change just to relieve yourself at a train station, you know exactly which greedy Roman ghost to curse. Number 9, the horse armor scam. Let's rewind to 2006. You are sitting in front of your console, diving into the massive world of the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. In these innocent times, when you buy a game disc, you own the whole game. Cool outfits and cheat codes are rewards for your skill, not your credit card limit. But Bethesda Softworks decides to run a little experiment that will change the industry forever. They release a downloadable add-on, a shiny set of armor for your horse. The price tag, $2.50. The benefit? Absolutely zero. It doesn't make your horse faster, and it certainly doesn't make it immortal. It is purely cosmetic fluff. Asking players to pay for this felt like a restaurant charging you a rental fee just to use the napkin. It was insulting, it was useless, and the gaming community screamed in collective fury. But here is the tragic twist. While everyone mocked it online, thousands of you secretly opened your wallets. That useless digital blanket sold like crazy. Bethesda looked at the numbers and realized a dark truth. Gamers will complain, they will scream, but they will eventually pay for shiny garbage. That singular moment of weakness birthed the nightmare we live in today. That horse armor is the grandfather of every $20 skin in Fortnite and every weapon blueprint in Call of Duty. We laughed at the horse back then, but looking at our bank accounts today, the joke was clearly on us. Number 8, the Cash Ransom. Imagine standing on a cold street corner staring at a machine that holds your hard-earned cash, but it demands a bribe just to give it back to you. When Chemical Bank and the early ATM networks first rolled out these metal boxes in the 1960s, they were marketed as a free miracle. They were actually a gift to the banks, not you, because they allowed them to fire expensive human tellers and replace them with cheap robots. But by the late 80s, banks realized they were providing too much convenience for free. They decided to flip the script. They invented the surcharge fee. What started as a few harmless cents has mutated into a monster. Today, the average cost to withdraw cash from an out-of-network ATM in the US has climbed to a record high of $4.73. You're literally paying money to access your own money. It is like paying a bouncer a cover charge just to get into your own living room. This move didn't just annoy us, it normalized the entire industry of junk fees. Banks now rake in billions of dollars in pure profit every year, not by providing a service, but by holding your own wallet hostage until you pay the ransom. Number 7, the Great Baggage Heist. Do you remember when your suitcase was treated like a passenger, not a hostage? Before 2008, checking a bag was as standard as the pilot showing up. It was free, it was expected, and it was civil. But then, oil prices skyrocket and American Airlines panics. They are desperate to cover costs, but they are also terrified of raising ticket prices because they need to look cheap on comparison websites. So they decide to unbundle the luxury of having clothes at your destination. Charging you to bring luggage on a trip is like a hotel charging you an hourly rate just to use the pillows. It defies logic, but they did it anyway. In May 2008, American Airlines becomes the first major carrier to slap a $15 fee on your first checked bag. They claimed it was a survival tactic for the fuel crisis. But here is the kicker. When oil prices eventually crashed back down, did the fees disappear? Absolutely not. United and Delta instantly copied the cheat code. The temporary fix became permanent. In 2023 alone, US Airlines pocketed over $33 billion just from baggage fees. They turned a basic necessity into a multi-billion-dollar ransom, and we are still paying for it. Number 6. The multiplayer tax. Let's get straight to the point. If you play games on a PC, you buy the game, you click connect, and you play with your friends. It is simple, it is logical, and most importantly, it is free. But if you are a console gamer, you are the victim of a brilliant corporate heist. Before 2002, this didn't exist. You paid your internet service provider for the connection, and that was it. But then, Microsoft looked at the Xbox and decided that wasn't enough. They invented Xbox Live Gold, forcing you to pay an extra $50 a year just to use the internet you already pay for. It is like buying a brand new car, but Ford charges you a monthly subscription just to turn the steering wheel. It is a double charge that defies logic. At first, Sony played the hero. They kept the PlayStation 3 free and openly mocked Microsoft's greed. But the moment Sony saw the billions of dollars flowing into Microsoft's pockets for doing absolutely nothing, their morals vanished. With the launch of the PS4, the PlayStation Plus gate slammed shut. Today, console gamers blindly pay a $60 to $80 friendship tax every year just to lobby up in Call of Duty. Meanwhile, PC gamers are doing the exact same thing for $0. Wondering why we ever agreed to let them pick our pockets. Number 5. The Vanity Tax. For over a decade, that little blue checkmark next to a username actually meant something. It was a digital ID card, a shield against imposters, and a signal that the person you were reading was actually real. It was a system built on trust, and because it was essential for safety, it was free. But then, Elon Musk walks in with a $44 billion debt to pay. He looks at this system of trust and sees a cash cow. He launches Twitter Blue, deciding that verification shouldn't be about who you are, but about what's in your wallet. Suddenly, for just $8 a month, literally anyone can be verified. This is like letting any random stranger buy a police badge at a costume shop and forcing the public to respect their authority. The result is instant chaos. Trolls pay the fee, pose as major pharmaceutical companies, and crash stock prices within hours. The symbol of truth completely loses its meaning because the moment you put a price tag on credibility, it stops being credible. You would think this disaster would be a warning, but Mark Zuckerberg saw it as a blueprint. Meta immediately copied the move, charging $12 for Meta Verified. Now, we live in a bizarre reality where proving you are actually human is a premium subscription service. Truth is no longer a right, it is a pay-to-win mechanic. Number 4. The hardware hostage. Picture this. You just dropped over $60,000 on a brand new luxury BMW. It is a freezing winter morning. You slide into the driver's seat and you press the button to warm up. Nothing happens. A message pops up on the dashboard asking for your credit card info. In 2022, BMW decided that selling you the car wasn't enough. They wanted to rent you the features inside it. They introduced an $18 monthly subscription just to activate the heated seats. Here's the part that makes your blood boil. The heating coils are already physically installed in the seat. You paid for the hardware when you bought the car, but BMW put a software lock on it. This is like buying a toaster, taking it home, and then having to pay a monthly subscription just to push the lever down. It was a bold attempt to turn your vehicle into a service, forcing customers in countries like South Korea and the UK to pay a ransom for warmth. Thankfully, the internet bullied them into submission. The backlash was so violent that BMW dropped the fee in late 2023. But the scary precedent has been set. They showed us a future where you don't actually own your car. You are just a tenant renting the steering wheel. Number 3. The cost of air. You pull into a gas station because your tire pressure light is screaming at you. You roll up to the air pump, expecting to just grab the hose and fill up. After all, it is air. It is literally everywhere. But instead of a handle, you are staring at a credit card reader demanding payment. Gas stations used to provide air as a basic safety courtesy, but eventually they realized that maintaining those pumps cost money, so they outsourced them to third-party vultures like AirServe. Now you have to cough up $1.50 or $2 just to inflate your tires for 3 minutes. Asking you to pay for compressed air is like a restaurant charging you a rental fee for the fork. It is the most abundant resource on earth, and they figured out how to put a price tag on it. But here is the real scam. If you live in states like California or Connecticut, the law explicitly says air must be free if you purchase fuel. But look at the machine. Do you see a free button? Of course not. These companies deliberately hide the manual override or force you to go inside and ask the clerk to turn it on, betting that you will be too lazy or socially anxious to ask. They are tricking millions of people into paying for a legal right. Number 2, the ad-free lie. Let's tune into the biggest broken promise in media history. Travel back to the 1950s. Your TV reception is garbage, full of static and interruptions. Then, John Walson and the early cable pioneers offer you a golden ticket. Pay a monthly subscription and you get crystal clear pictures with 0 commercials. The deal made perfect sense. You pay the fee so the network doesn't need ad revenue. It was a beautiful, honest transaction. But by the 1980s, cable giants like ESPN and MTV realized they could commit the ultimate double cross. They decided to keep charging you the subscription fee and simultaneously sell your eyeballs to advertisers. This is like paying full price for a movie ticket, sitting down in the theater and having the projectionist pause the film every 10 minutes to scream at you about car insurance. It is a breach of contract that we just accepted. Today, the average American household shells out over $100 a month for cable, yet we still suffer through 20 minutes of ads every single hour. And if you think cutting the cord saved you, look closely at Netflix and Amazon Prime. They are slowly introducing ad-supported tiers, proving that history doesn't just repeat itself, it rebrands and charges you extra. Number 1, the stolen miracle. Imagine holding the patent for a cure that could save millions of lives. In 1923, Frederick Banting finds himself in this exact position after discovering insulin. He looks at the dying children in the wards, and he makes a choice. He sells the patent for $1, declaring, "Insulin does not belong to me, it belongs to the world." He wanted it to be as cheap as water, but today, 3 pharmaceutical giants, Eli Lilly, Novo Nordisk, and Sanofi, have hijacked that legacy. They use a legal loophole called evergreening, where they tweak the formula just enough to keep the patent locked down forever, blocking cheap generics. The result is a markup that is purely criminal. It costs them about $10 to manufacture a vial of insulin, yet they sell it to you for over $300. This is like a firefighter showing up to your burning house and demanding your credit card number before he turns on the hose. Because of a 1,000% price hike since the 90s, we now face the nightmare of insulin rationing. 1 in 4 diabetic patients in America is forced to skip doses to save money, risking blindness, kidney failure, and death. They are literally dying because they cannot afford to buy back the gift that was explicitly given to them for free. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.